I've coached over 1,000 guys now to get into peak physical and mental shape. And there's something that I have noticed along the way. Most guys are stuck at that 20% body fat. Everyone's aiming to get to that 10% body fat, but very few can actually get to 10%. And if they do, they can't maintain it for more than fucking 1 to 2 weeks. Okay? So in this video, I want to talk you through exactly how to get there, maintain it for life, and actually be able to then focus on other areas of your life. Upskill, careers, relationships, whatever it might be. We don't want to be in this consistent cycle of getting in and out of shape. Because what happens? You get into shape, you push really hard, you get close to that 10% body fat, but then within a couple of weeks you're out of shape, habits fall off, low energy, routine is all out of whack, cognitive function is not there when it was when you were dialed in, drinking your water, making sure sleep's on point. Most guys have been into that flow state where they're on their shit with their training, their nutrition, supplementation. They feel amazing. High energy, high confidence, and life just seems to be flowing for them in a positive way. But it just never lasts long enough to actually compound. So rather than getting in and out of shape, we're getting into shape. We're installing systems to stay in shape year round, and then we can start building on top of that. Okay, we can start upskilling, do more deeper work, inner work, whatever it might be. But the body is the foundation. That is the number one thing. You get the body right, it unlocks a whole new world. If you're operating from a weak body, a weak mindset, weak standards, you're going to have a bang fucking average life. I don't care what anyone says. You first build the body and then you build the life. If you're trying to build a life from a shitty machine, a shitty operating system, this is going to be much harder. So get the body done first, the foundation, and then we grow on top of that. We build on top of that. So in this video, I want to talk you through everything from top to bottom to how to actually achieve it. Get into shape and stay in shape for life. And the first thing that we need to do is we actually need to create a realistic timeline. We don't want to be going for these short, crazy approaches where an 8-week shred, a 10-week shred, a 6-week shred before a holiday, right? Firstly, we need to shift the mindset. This is a lifestyle approach, because once you view getting into shape as an actual lifestyle and actually understand the benefits of it, it's literally not just what you see in the mirror. That is the byproduct. It's how you feel, it's how you show up, it's the confidence you have, it's how you operate, it's the mental clarity you have, the predictable energy to actually achieve what you want out of life. These are the real things that we get from building the body, okay? So that's why we first need to shift our perspective as to how we view getting into shape. It's the most important thing that we need to do each and every day. And when I say the body, I mean the habits that come with that, around it, the training, the nutrition, the supplementation, the sleep, the mindset, everything that comes with getting into shape. That's what really allows you to grow in all the other areas of your life. So the first thing is we view it as a lifestyle. But to get to that 10%, maintain that 10% and come out the other end, we do need a timeline, okay? We don't want it too short and we definitely don't want it too long. I'm talking about guys trying to get into shape with a really short period of time. Some guys are in a fucking calorie deficit for over a year, but they're actually in and out of it, but they're in and out, in and out, in and out, and then what happens? They just end up in the exact same position. So what we need to do is we need to create that realistic timeline. If you're at 20% body fat, you want to get to 10 and actually reverse out and be able to sustain that 10 to 12%, 6 months minimum. And 6 months maximum is what I would recommend, okay? So it's like, once you have that timeline from 20% down to 10%, we then need to break it up. Okay, what do we actually need to do to get there? It's not like we go from here straight into a calorie deficit for 6 months. It's not, you're going to crash, you're going to burn, your physique is probably going to look shit. What we need to do is we first need to prime the body. Okay, so we sit in a maintenance phase for about 4 weeks. And in this position, it's person dependent, but for about 4 weeks. And in this phase, you can actually build muscle, you can reduce body fat at the same time. You lay the foundations when it comes to your routine. You figure out, okay, what routine is best going to suit me? Is it going to be training in the morning, training in the evening? You iron this out within the first couple of weeks and you get very specific on the days you're going to train. You literally lay the foundation as if you're building a house. You're laying the foundation in that priming phase. From there, you're building muscle, reducing body fat, improving body composition, getting your training intensity up to a really high standard before you then enter into that peak phase, which is your dieting phase. Once you've that foundation laid, you transition into the peak, and then from that peak phase, this is where you get to that 10% body fat. This is where you push hard physically, mentally, you get into that peak physical condition. And once you hit that peak physical condition, we then need to reverse out. And this is where most guys fuck up. They get to the 10% or close to 10% and they think the job is done. Then the training gets slack, the routine goes out the window, the nutrition is all out of fucking scattered, over consuming food. What we have to realize is when you're at 10% body fat, your body, you're going to have pushed it. So the output's going to be high. The amount of training, cardio you're doing is going to be high, and the amount of food that you're consuming is going to be low. So if you go from high output to low amount of food to get to that 10% body fat, which isn't sustainable to maintain this year round, and that's the point, if you then go from low output to a high amount of food, you're going to rebound and gain body fat so fucking quickly. And I've been there myself. I've done it many times at the start of my journey. And then this is why this approach is non-negotiable now. And this is why I believe in this approach over, I've tried every other approach. I've tried the keto, I've tried the bodybuilding approaches, I've tried the fasting. This is a combination of everything combined, okay? So once you get to that 10%, you slowly bring down the food and slowly bring up, you slowly bring up the food and slowly bring down the output that you're doing. Then you get back to a maintenance position. I want to show you something actually. One of the guys here, he finished off on 2,000 calories. He is now consuming 3,000 calories. So at the end of his dieting phase, he was doing 6 cardio sessions. He was consuming 2,000 calories. He's now in a position where he's doing 2 cardio sessions and he's consuming 3,000 calories. And look at the differences in his physique, okay? That's from here to here. So he's on 1,000 more calories, and look how much leaner he is. From here to here. Young dad, works a busy job, and he's literally at 10% body fat now, and he can maintain that year round. He even messaged me here, he said, over the moon with how much my body has progressed over these last 5 months, man. Can't thank you enough for the guidance along the way. Old habits are long gone, and the person I was before this whole journey, I wouldn't even recognize. Guys, he'd been training for 10 years prior to this, okay? And that's where I see most guys stuck. That's why this is key, okay? So you get to that position, you reverse out. When you get into that reverse phase, you do that for about 4 weeks is more than enough to get out. And then you go into that total control phase, okay? For just using Tomas as an example, he was training 5 times per week. But when we reversed out, he's now in a total control phase where he's looking at upskilling in other areas of his life. As I said, he's a young father. His missus is focusing on her fitness goals and stuff now. So the routine had to change around a little bit. Okay, so now what happens is we've brought his training down from 5 to 3 gym sessions per week, but he's bought back more time. He's bought back more time in his day-to-day life. He can now focus on upskilling, been around for his family more, whatever it might be. It's like you have to do this once to get to that position. When you're in that position, you can then focus on other areas of your life. Because think about it, as I said, if you're getting into shape, but you're then falling out of shape, 6 months down the line, you're just in this constant cycle. Into shape, out of shape, into shape, out of shape. Instead of getting into shape, staying in shape, and then being able to focus on the other areas of your life, whether it's your career, your business, your relationships, your family, upskilling. Because you get to that shape, you stay mentally sharp. You've high energy throughout the day. You're cognitively sharp. What happens when you get into shape and you fall back out of shape? When you get back here, low energy, low mood, struggling to get up out of bed. And then you're just in this cycle, guys. And the only reason I say this is because I was stuck in this cycle for so fucking long. for so long. I'd push so hard, get into peak shape, feel amazing, be getting after my goals, but then slowly I'd fall back to worse position than I started. You feel like shit, energy's low, all the negative effects, and then it's just this constant cycle where it's like, get to peak shape, physically, mentally, then stay there and focus on the other areas of your life, okay? So that's the 4 phases you need to go through with your body. Prime the body, peak, reverse, and then that lifestyle phase where you design, you change things around to suit your other life goals, essentially, okay? Work with a lot of business owners as well, so they bring their body, they bring themselves through the whole system to get into peak physical shape, and then they can operate at the highest standard within their business, and then they're just compounding growth in all areas of life. When it comes to like your nutrition and stuff then, okay, so obviously each phase requires different, like each week, each 1 to 2 weeks, you need to be tweaking your nutrition to make sure that you're actually progressing at the rate you want to be progressing, okay? But the key, I'm not going to go through every single phase, but what I'll do is just the priming, or I'll touch off the most important kind of elements, because once you set up your diet at the start, it's more or less the same diet that you will follow, because the way we have to look at it again is your diet needs to be food that you enjoy is non-negotiable. It needs to be food that you enjoy, because if you're eating shit that you don't like eating, you're not going to stick to it long term, okay? So you find a meal plan that you enjoy, a structure that you enjoy, and with that you need to figure out, okay, how many meals actually suits my day. Like I used to do the 6 meals a day when I was back in the bodybuilding approach, eating every 2 hours, but it was chaotic. I'd be running out. I was working in a bar at the time. I remember I'd be running out, I'd be gobbling down my food and then going back in. So obviously we need to figure out, what does your day-to-day, what does your business look like? What does your career look like? Your family life? You then need to figure out, okay, how many meals is actually suitable? Is it 3 meals? Is it 4 meals? Is it 3 meals and a pre and a post-workout snack? You figure that out, okay? And you find the approach that's going to work for you long term, okay? That is the key. As I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but stop looking at like keto approaches, high carb, low carb, all these mad different approaches. There's a time and place for them, but just set the foundation first. Nutrition, number 1. There's some construction going on out here now. I hope it doesn't get too loud, because I'm in flow state here, baby. So get your nutrition dialed in for a long-term approach. Then we look at your training. Okay, so with your training as well, don't be trying to commit to 6 days a week if you can't commit to 6 days a week. If it's 3, 4, 5, I think 4 is a really good sweet spot. You set up your training, then in a way it's like maybe like a push-pull legs upper lower split, or like a push-pull legs upper, or you can go upper lower. Depending on your body, you need to figure out, okay, what are the key areas that I want to bring out, the main areas I want to focus on, and then you can start to build from there. With the training as well, guys, we don't want to be in the gym for more than like an hour. If you're in the gym for fucking 2 to 3 hours a day, it's going to eat up too much time. It's not going to be sustainable long term, okay? So an hour in and out with a training split designed for you, that's enough volume. Your sets, your reps are specific. You're not overdoing, you're not training too much, you're not doing too much volume that is unnecessary, okay? A nice approach that I like to take is like, for your isolation movements, so like your flies, your bicep curls, your delts, 3 sets at a higher rep range. But then for your bigger compound movements that are going to be a lot more taxing on the central nervous system, 2 sets, a top set and then a back off set, okay? So you might go 6 to 10, and then you might go 10 to 12. But you're going to all out failure with everything that you do here. But with these bigger compound movements, as I said, it's going to be a lot more demanding, a lot more taxing on the body. So we don't want to go to the gym, be overdoing the amount of training that we're doing, causing too much fatigue to the central nervous system, that when we leave, we're wiped out. We can't focus on business, we can't focus on career, because, and I've done this, we've trained so hard that we're absolutely wiped out post-workout, and it's the day is done and over, basically. I used to train, I used to come home, I'd eat, and then I'd have to nap, because I was just overtraining essentially, which is what we don't want to do. And then cardio, minimum 3 by 20 minutes per week. Low intensity on a bike, incline walk, run, jog, cycle, ski, whatever it might be. Just pick a source of cardio that's going to help you in terms of longevity, in terms of body composition, in terms of your digestion and overall just your general health, your cardiovascular health. So make sure you don't neglect your cardio. So your diet needs to be set up in a way that you can stick to it long term, foods that you enjoy. Training, no need for a longer than an hour in the gym. Lower volume, but just making sure that you're very potent with what you're doing in the gym. You're getting in, you're doing enough volume to grow muscle tissue, but you're not spending all day and you're not fatiguing yourself. And then your cardio, at least 3 by 20 minutes per week is what I'd recommend. But then as you go through the different phases, your nutrition will have to adjust, your cardio will have to adjust. Maybe you need to push more cardio up, you need to pull it back, you need to manage it along the way. And there's going to be periods of time where you might be in a dieting phase and you actually have to bring your food back to maintenance. You have to bring your calories or your cardio right back down just to allow to drop off any fatigue that you may be accumulating. Your calendar set up. This is the key. And as I said, through the different phases it will change, but what we need to do is, this is essentially your lifestyle design, right? When you're coming in here, like you have the most important meeting for your business, or with a high potential, high ticket client, or a sales call, you have to schedule in your training, your meal preps. When you're going for a walk, I'm going to show you something here. Let me get this up. Like, just get very, very specific with what you need to do on a daily basis, because this will change the game for you. Because if you know what you're doing, when you're doing it. There's a great book, Atomic Habits, and he's all about time and a location. So this is my calendar, right? This is literally, I know when I'm waking up in the morning, doing my morning alignment process, doing my visualization, my meditation, aligning my identity to the goals that I want, my business growth, my meal one, the gym, client fulfillment, when I have calls with the guys in total control, so the guys who have that high proximity to me. Each evening we have calls with them. That's getting scheduled in. My study, my evening routine, my sleep time, my walk, all of it gets scheduled in, right? And I'm not going to say each and every day it's 100% going on. Sometimes things might get a little bit dragged out, or I might be in the gym, I might meet someone, I might get home a little bit later, but I have that schedule to go off, okay? And I'm focusing on everything that needs to be focused on a daily basis. So you need to schedule your training, your nutrition, your wake up time, your sleep time. And it might seem like it's a little bit obsessive, but I promise you, once you get into this routine, it's so much fucking better than getting up groggy, than eating random meals throughout the day, to not be progressing on a daily basis. If your goal is to get into shape, but even 2 weeks down the line, you haven't progressed, like, what are you actually doing? Each and every day we need to be progressing. And once you have like your calendar and you prioritize your mind, your body, your business, your career, your upskilling within that calendar, you then just show up and you tick it off on a daily basis. Physically, you're going to look better. Mentally, you're going to feel better. Your life is going to be growing on a daily basis. You're probably going to be making more money. You're going to have more confidence within yourself. So you're going to attract a better partner. You're going to attract an actual partner, whatever it might be. You're going to be a better father for your family because you're showing up. You're operating at a different standard each and every day. Okay, so set up your calendar with your time blocks. Even if you're working a 9 to 5, okay, before that, I'm in the gym. After that, I'm studying to upskill to start my business. Whatever it might be, just get very specific with your calendar and setting that up. And then that daily blueprint. I have my daily blueprint here up on the wall, so I look at that every single day. It's my personal goals, my business goals, my macros. It's like everything that needs to be done on a daily basis is in front of me each and every day, and I don't go to sleep until that gets done. So you need to create a daily blueprint for yourself. Mind, your body, your life, your business. That is absolutely non-negotiable. So this is the exact process, right? To getting from that 20% body fat to getting to that 10% body fat. Once you're at that 10% body fat, as I said, you have the energy, you have the confidence, you have the mental clarity, you have the predictable energy. You're operating at a higher standard in your life, and that transfers into every area of your life. It's not just about what we see in the mirror, it's about how we show up, how we operate, and essentially how we live our lives. on a daily basis. And like, just if you don't have that confidence within yourself to go after what it is you want, to start the business, to approach the girl, you're losing out on so much. So it starts with you, the individual. I promise you, I've tried everything. The quickest way to become confident is to build the body, to build the physical proof, to show up each and every day for yourself. That's the key. And guys, if you want to get into peak physical shape, peak mental shape, have crystal clear clarity on the goals that you want in life, have that predictable energy, and just operate at that standard, the highest of standard, each and every single day. Get to that 10% body fat. There's a link below. Click it. It'll bring you to a landing page. You can then apply to work with me. Have a look through that. You'll see results, testimonials, all that good stuff. And I would love to work with you. If you are in a position that you're sick of repeating the same cycle, staying in mediocre, average daily fucking life. Again, I was stuck there, and I promise you, it's so much better on the other side. Even look at Tomas. Tomas has been training for 10 years round and round. Within 5 months, he says he doesn't recognize himself. He's at 10% body fat. Doesn't recognize his own version of him. All the bad habits are gone. It does not take long, guys. That's 5 months. That's not even 6 months. I normally say 6 months, but that was 5 months. Or in 5 to 6 months, you can be in the exact same position. Watching more YouTube videos, taking notes, but not actually implementing or acting. The decision needs to be made now. It's the guys that get the best results decide now. They're like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready. Let's fucking go. They take action. They do the work. They get the results. And they're the fucking man. Peace and love. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one.